Brookwood Cemetery in my constituency is a beautiful Grade 1 listed historic park and garden. It's got a fascinating history which I would recommend to everyone, but in brief, as London ran out of space in its churchyards and cemeteries in the Victorian age in the late 1840s, and there were issues obviously of potential cholera outbreaks and so on. Brookwood Cemetery in the heart of Surrey was designated to take all of London's deceased, and a special train line was set up. Its other name was the London Necropolis. But today, 170 years later, it is still an absolutely beautiful place. It has originally the Necropolis Company bought over 2,000 acres, but there are it's still very large. It's still 220 acres and holds the remains of over 265,000 deceased, from the great and the good through to paupers. And recently, we've had reinterred at the cemetery, I think it's 15,000 sets of remains from the HS2 line. So it's still used as an active cemetery. It still has that historic job of taking in those sorts of remains when the need arises. It's had a slightly checkered history over more recent times. It was always in private ownership, and some of those private owners looked after the cemetery very, very well, others not so much. So much so that Woking Borough Council stepped in a few years ago to buy the cemetery, and they've done an amazing job in terms of restoring it. It was in great need of some love and attention and restoration, whether it was the buildings, the walls, the memorials. There's also some wonderful flora and fauna, but it had become overrun with rhododendrons and all sorts of other things. Some of the trees are 170 years old. They're absolutely magnificent sight, all set out in serried lines, particularly next to the railway line that used to come in. As you can hear, Mr. Chairman, this is a very, very special place, but it needs further restoration going forward. It is the largest cemetery in the United Kingdom. It's one of the very largest, if not the largest, in Europe. As I say, it has an amazing amount of history. Going forward, Woking Council will not be able to spend the sort of money that they have in recent times as I say, they've done a great restoration job. But this is a monument, a site of national importance. So the Minister will forgive me if I engage with the government, with his department, about this magnificent place, together obviously with other heritage bodies and lottery organisations, because it really deserves the public's support going forward. And as I say, I recommend to everyone in this chamber that they get acquainted. It is the most amazing place, and we'll need that national support going forward for what is a very special and important national monument.